Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Smith versus Brooker.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Ms. Smith, you are here in court today because you claim a miscalculation during your pregnancy has left you unsure about the paternity of your 4-month-old son, Lamontre. Now, today you hope to determine whether your ex-boyfriend or the defendant, Mr. Brooker, fathered your child.
Yes, Your
Now,
Honor.
Mr. Brooker, you're Ms. Smith's fiance.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and you're one of her son's possible fathers.
Yes.
Now, you admit you've had doubts all along.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your detective work has left you with questionable evidence.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Smith, explain to the court why your fiance may not be your child's biological father.
Well, Your Honor, me and Lamontre met back in college last year, but at that time I was with my ex-boyfriend, so I knew I couldn't talk to Mr. Brooker. So when me and my ex-boyfriend ended up breaking up, I talked to Lamontre and I invited him to my birthday party. And then after that, a few days after, we had sex. So, and then once that happened, I was like really starting to like him and be interested. And a couple of weeks later, or next month in September, I felt like sick, so I decided to take a pregnancy test.
Okay.
And so it came back positive. So the next day, I actually went to the doctor and I confirmed it. And that's when they gave me my due date of April 9th.
Okay, so now, Mr. Brooker, is that an accurate account?
Well, yes, ma'am. Basically, everything she said is accurate. We met through school. She invited me to a birthday party. After that, I was really digging her and whatnot. Everything else, it flowed through time. We got together, we did our thing, blase squaze.
Blase squaze.
Excuse me. Yes, ma'am.
All right. That means everything was rolling,
Everything
there was
was
the
kosher.
flow,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
relationship was going well.
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing eventful.
Yes, ma'am.
Got it.
Through time, she came up. Well, she was in her car at that time, and I was home. And she sent me a text saying it was important and she needed to talk to me. And I was like, okay. And I'm laying down, and she said, I just went to the doctor and I found out I was 6 weeks instead of 8. And I'm like, my heart dropped. I was like, oh my God. So I was like, okay, cool. All right. So we got him in person. We talked about it. She said it may be a possibility. She was sure of who it was, and we were the only, me and her ex were the only 2 dudes that she was with during the time.
Okay. So she was open with you about that?
Basically, she was open and she was honest and straightforward, and I was cool about it, and it was understandable.
So now, you and Lamontre Jr., this is your son. You have a bond now, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how are you feeling in terms of, oh, what a beautiful picture? Have you all started doing father and son things and, look.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
now that is such a cute picture.
We like to talk in the morning.
You like to talk?
Yeah,
Uh-huh. What do you all talk about?
I have no clue.
Whatever's on
You
sometimes.
don't know what he's saying. I know, that's so good though. I love it when they start rambling. You don't know what they're talking about, but
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So you have a bond with this little boy.
Yes,
he
ma'am.
has your name. You all are engaged.
Yes, ma'am. We plan on getting married in September.
That's wonderful. So now, Ms. Smith, talk to me about this miscalculation. What happened?
Well, the thing is, I went to 3 different doctors. The first one I went to, and they told me, well, yeah, you're about 8 or 9 weeks pregnant, and they did it by the chart. So that led back to my ex. And then that next week I went and I got a blood test done, and they said that just about the same thing, 8 or 9 weeks, and my due date was April 9th.
And that's the reason we're here.
So, when you went to the doctor, you have evidence
I have
here?
evidence.
Jerome, please, pass me that evidence. I want to understand this.
Right.
And you brought a calendar to explain this.
Yes.
Please step up to your evidence and let's see.
Okay. This first one basically shows
Oh boy.
the time I stopped having intercourse with my ex, which was July 17th.
All right.
Okay, in September, these are the dates I actually went to the doctor, and they gave me a due date of April 9th. and they said I was 8 or 9 weeks pregnant.
Right, which lines up with the first 2 pieces of evidence you submitted here.
Correct.
So first 2 appointments, you're feeling like it's likely it could be the exes, and you're telling Mr. Brooker that too.
Right.
Yes.
All right, okay. Now what happens?
So this is where it gets confusing. I was stating that me and Mr. Brooker had sex August on the 14th. And then that's when I went to the doctor again on the 24th, and they gave me a date of May 13th. And at that time, I'm like, that corresponds with the time me and him started having sex.
Oh, so now at your 3rd doctor's appointment, which this piece of evidence, this is a picture from your ultrasound. After they actually do the ultrasound, they give you the due date of 7 weeks later, May 13th.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you count back, that date of conception is in line with the time you were with Mr. Brooker.
Yes.
Wow. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. You have 2 due dates that far apart.
Right.
One April 9th and the other one May 13th. That's a pretty big discrepancy.
It'd be questionable too, Your Honor.
So, all right, first 2 appointments, April 9th. 3rd appointment, May 13th. When was Lamontre born?
Lamontre was actually born March 12th.
Oh my goodness.
He was born premature. He was born 2 months early because I have an incompetent cervix, so that kind of prevents me from holding the child inside, so they had to do a surgery. And
well, the question is really though, you said, well, 2 months early based on the 3rd due date, but only a month early based upon the first 2 appointments.
Exactly.
And the doctors, they weren't certain whether he was 1 or 2 months premature.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right. Thank you for that. That exhibit really helped. The court wanted to understand how this type of discrepancy can happen. So the court is calling upon an expert witness. And Jerome, if you would please escort Dr. Jamila Gator. She's an MD and board certified in family medicine. I'd like to call upon her and ask her a couple of questions.
Watch your step going up.
Okay.
Hello, Dr. Gator. Thank you so much for joining us
Hello.
today. We have a situation here, and we needed expert testimony. So, have you reviewed the paperwork we submitted to you and her evidence?
Yes, I've reviewed the medical records.
Can you hold up the calendar so we can understand this? Thank you. All right. So, Dr. Gator, as you can see, on July 17th is the last time Ms. Smith was intimate with her ex.
Yes.
Now, on August 14th was when she was intimate with Mr. Brooker.
Correct.
First due date she got was April 9th.
Yes, correct.
The second one, 7 weeks later, was the date. How can that happen, and why does that happen?
It actually happens more often than you would think. At Miss Smith's first visit, she basically was given a potential due date of April the 9th, and that was based off of her last menstrual period of July the 3rd. However, as she testified, her periods are irregular. So when you're basing it off that information, it can be very inaccurate. At the third visit, she has an ultrasound, which clearly dates her at 7 weeks pregnant. So the doctor revises the due date to the date in May, the 13th. And that's because a first trimester ultrasound is going to be the most accurate way that you can date a pregnancy. And so that would make the date of conception in mid to late August.
Which then points towards Mr. Brooker being the father.
Yes.
Wow. And so at the point...
Unless she was intimate with someone else during that time period.
No.
Ms. Smith, tell us now, because we got all these calendars going. If we got to add something else on here, tell us now.
There is no adding. That's it.
Okay, so now when the baby's premature...
Yes. It further confuses things. So I can understand why everyone's confused in this situation. But the ultrasound is very clear. She was 7 weeks pregnant at the end of September, which puts the date of conception in mid to late August.
All right, well, thank you so much, doctor. We appreciate your testimony. Jerome, will you please escort Dr. Gator? So that was a lot. And so because of this, Mr. Brooker, you had doubts.
I had doubts, I did, but at the same time, like I told her, through the time we were together, I actually ended up falling in love with her. So regardless,
you did?
Yes, ma'am. Regardless whether the result came out if the baby was to be mine or not, I was gonna be there. I even gave him my name.
Oh, that's wonderful. So throughout the pregnancy, you were there?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go to doctor's appointments?
Yes, ma'am.
Some of them.
It was some of them because like the beginning of them I didn't go to because I didn't know until she called me after the third appointment. And I gave her my name, but I didn't sign a birth certificate because of the DNA test.
So, Ms. Smith, throughout your pregnancy, with these due dates shifting and everything going on, what were you telling your ex? Because he thought he was the father, at least a strong potential, right?
Right.
So what were you telling him?
Well, I'll let him know up front that, you know, Trey could possibly be the father, but he was really upset because it would have been his first child and that would have just made him happy. But he said that if I, you know, whatever happens, he want to be there and he want to be supportive. So I was like, okay. But at the same time, he was sad. But at that time.
Did he go to doctor's appointments?
Yes.
Oh, did you all go to the same one?
Oh, nah.
No, and
he went to the first three.
I was about to say, now this is very big of everybody.
He went to the first three. I don't get
The
down
first
like
couple
that.
of one, yeah.
Okay, so when it was pointing towards him, he went to the doctor.
Yes.
And then when the arrows start pointing towards you, you started going.
Correct.
Who was at the hospital when the baby was born?
I was there.
You were there.
Yeah, birth ain't what women say it is, but I was there.
Birthing what?
It's not what women say it is, but I was there.
So when the baby was born, I know you're happy that the baby's here, but I can imagine you were thinking in your mind, now what date does this go with?
That, and is he okay? And it was a lot going through my mind.
I could imagine. So now you really are like, I gotta have a DNA test.
Correct.
And so what do you do?
Well, my cousin bought a test for me. I took it there to the hospital.
So your cousin brought an at-home DNA test.
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay, but the baby wasn't at home yet, right?
no,
He was
ma'am.
still in the
He was still
hospital.
in the hospital. He was in the NIC.
For a whole month.
And I swabbed him like the first.
In the NIC unit?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
They
took him
let
out.
you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
He was only 2 days born.
So the baby was 2 days old and you bought a home DNA test and went into the intensive care unit.
Yes, ma'am.
And what did the nurses and the doctor say?
Well, she said that it wouldn't be all is that accurate and whatnot, but she said some of the tests work, some of the tests don't. And
She advised us not to do it.
I did it anyway.
And you knew he was going to do it.
Yes, I was there when he did it.
Oh.
He wanted to do it, so I'm like, okay, because I was sure. I'm like, okay, he's the father. I want to let him do it. But the nurses was like, oh, we wouldn't advise you to do that. Wait till he's a little bit older.
I
So
got
the
the
nurses
evidence
told.
for the
Let me
test
see that
also.
evidence, Jerome. So these are the results of your at-home test.
Yes, ma'am.
It says probability of paternity 0%. What did you think then?
That's still my baby.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Ms. Smith, you say you don't believe this test was accurate?
I don't believe that because I feel like he was born early, and the nurse advised us not to do it. So that's why I don't believe that it's accurate, and I want to get another one done.
But you just wanted to know right
I want
away.
to know, and I want to know also for the baby. I feel like he deserves the truth regardless.
Yes, he does. You're right. You still believe he's your biological son in your heart,
Yes, ma'am.
even though the probability of paternity on this test was 0%.
Correct.
And that's why you're here.
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Smith, you're convinced as well. You truly believe this is Mr. Brooker's child.
Yes.
All right, I think it's time for the results. Jerome, the envelope. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Smith v. Brooker, as it pertains to 4-month-old Lamontre Brooker, Mr. Brooker, do you want to watch Paternity Court on TV? Go to paternitycourt.tv to find your local listings. In the case of Smith v. Brooker, as it pertains to 4-month-old Lamontre Brooker, Mr. Brooker, you are not his father. I'm sorry to have to deliver that news.
It's okay. I'm still gonna be there.
Miss Smith, what are you feeling right now?
That was not what I was hoping.
It's all right, babe.
I'm really, really proud of how mature you all have been through this situation. It has been confusing. And Mr. Brooker, I cannot say enough how much I commend you for being a stand-up guy and just stepping up to the plate despite the confusion. All right, I wish you the best of luck. Take care of that beautiful baby boy. Court is adjourned.
We're gonna go forward. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be his father, and nothing's gonna change between us.
We're going to go forward with our day-to-day life like nothing really ever happened.
He will have to know the truth. They both have to know the truth. But as far as that, like she said, we're gonna live day to day, and we're gonna go through it.